Hello, this is Papa G and welcome to Papa Can Cook. Well, Thanksgiving is almost upon us. And if you're looking for something to add to a meal that you may be hosting or to bring to a family member or a friend who is hosting Thanksgiving, I have the perfect side dish for you. It's roasted delicata squash. Not too many people know about delicata squash. People know about acorn squash, butternut squash, those types of things, but delicata squash is a little unusual. It is delicate. I'm assuming that's where the name came from. It's got a nutty, light flavor. It's got a thin skin, which in this case means you don't have to peel this. Some of the other, like butternut squashes, are very difficult to make because you got to peel them to use them. This you don't have to peel. I'll show you how we're going to make this, but the key ingredient obviously is the delicata squash. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to toss it in extra virgin olive oil before we lay it out to bake it or roast it, and we're going to put some maple syrup. This maple syrup I put in the mason jar. I buy it by the gallon. We have a house up in Vermont, and near where our house is, which is in Ludlow by Okemo, about a half hour northeast of that, is Sugarbush Farms. I have a link on my site if you're interested. If you're ever up in that area, it's a great place for the family to visit, especially with the kids. It's a family-owned and run farm. It's a large farm. They gather all their maple sap. They make the maple syrup. They make cheese. It's all their own cheese, their own maple syrup. They have a little petting farm for the kids. It's a really nice place to visit, and the people are absolutely wonderful. So, Sugarbush Farms. But I buy it by the gallon, and then I transfer it into quart jars. You can freeze maple syrup, so I freeze it, and then I take it out a quart at a time to be able to use it. So we're going to use that. We're going to use salt and pepper. And I'm going to garnish it with a couple of slices of bacon. I use the Black Label. It's a Hormel thick cut bacon, which is gluten free. I'm going to cut that up and we're going to garnish it with it. That's it. Basically, it's one delicata squash for two people. All right. So the first thing we're going to do for the preparation is make sure that this delicata squash has been scrubbed clean, because you're going to eat the entire thing with the skin. Get a nice sharp knife, put a good edge on it, because you're going to be cutting through this squash. So the first thing you're going to do is take the squash, cut it in half lengthwise. Very good. Probably want to cut the little tips off, because you're not going to want to eat those. Okay, then what we're going to do is scoop the seeds out. I'm just using a tablespoon. You could use an ice cream scoop, a melon boiler, whatever works for you. Okay, scoop the seeds out. Put that aside. And then we're going to take the squash and we're going to cut them in about 1/2 inch pieces. That's about the right size. If it's too thin, they cook too fast. So you want to cut them in 1/2 inch slices. And then I'm going to put them in a bowl here. This is a little thick. I'm going to cut this again. Okay. And I'm going to put some extra virgin, drizzle some extra virgin olive oil on it, so it'll all be coated. Stir that up, toss that. I'm going to put some salt and pepper. And some of the maple syrup. I would say it's about maybe a little bit more than a tablespoon of maple syrup. Toss that around, and then I have a rimmed baking sheet lined with parchment paper. You definitely want to do that, or else you're just going to make a mess out of your baking sheet. I'm going to put these out on the sheet, and I'm going to arrange them. Good enough. Okay, and then I'm going to put them in my oven, which has been preheating to 425. And after 15 minutes, they'll be brown. I'll flip them over and roast them for another 15-20 minutes, see what it looks like, and I'll show you how it comes out in the end. So while the delicata squash was roasting in the oven, I took the opportunity to take a couple of slices of bacon, cut them up into small bits, and fry them nice and crisp. So I have that here. And I roasted the delicata squash for 20 minutes per side, 425 degrees. I've transferred it now into a serving dish, and just a little bit of garnish. You don't have to do this because this is going to be very sweet already as it is, but I like the flavor of maple syrup. A couple of teaspoons, basically. And the bacon. And what goes with bacon? Chives. I have some chives from out in the garden, the herb garden, and I'm going to sprinkle some of that on here. Nice sweet and savory flavor. And this is what it looks like. It's going to be great.